Hello. My phone lit up while I was buried up to my elbows in the engine of a customer's old Ford pickup truck. The name on the screen made me freeze for a couple of seconds. Then I wiped my hands on a rag and went right back to the alternator. 14 months. That is how long it had been since I had heard a single word from her. 14 months since she stood in the middle of our living room and told me she needed to go find herself, and that being married to me was somehow stopping her from experiencing life the way she wanted. I remember every word she said. I need space to discover who I am without being defined as someone's wife. I looked her straight in the eye that day and said only one thing. All right. She expected me to break down, or beg, or throw some dramatic scene that would make her feel special or chased after. But instead, I called my lawyer first thing the next morning. For months later, the divorce was done. When she signed the papers, she looked stunned, like she could not believe I had not tried to win her back. I did not fight. I moved on. And now, after all that time, her message was glowing on my screen. Hey, I know it has been a long time. I have done a lot of thinking. I am done finding myself. I am ready to come home and be your wife again. We can start over. I miss what we had. I read it twice. Then I locked my phone and went back to the spreadsheet on my workbench. She sent 3 more messages that hour. I did not open any of them. 2 days later, I was in the garage finishing an oil change when the doorbell rang. I checked the clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was not expecting anyone. I will get it. Daisy called from the kitchen. She was testing a new recipe, something with garlic that made the whole house smell amazing. I heard the door open, then nothing. A heavy kind of silence. Can I help you? Daisy asked, her voice polite, but steady. I set my wrench down and walked toward the entryway. I already knew exactly who was standing there. My ex-wife was on the doorstep, staring at Daisy like she had just seen her worst memory come to life. She had a small suitcase in her hand, the kind of bag someone brings when they plan to move right back in without asking. Her eyes moved from Daisy's face, down to her casual clothes, to the kitchen towel she was holding, and back up again. The color drained right out of her. You, she whispered. What are you doing here? Daisy did not even blink. I live here, she said. Is there something you need? That was when my ex finally noticed me standing behind Daisy in the hallway. Her shock twisted into something else. Anger, disbelief, maybe both. Are you kidding me right now? She snapped. Her? You are with her? I stepped up beside Daisy and rested my hand on her shoulder. Did you need something? I asked. I sent you messages, she said, ignoring that. Did you even read them? I read the first one. That was enough. She let out a laugh, but it came out sharp and bitter. You moved her in? Daisy, of all people. You know how I felt about her. Daisy crossed her arms. Actually, she said, I never had any idea how you felt. You smiled to my face and talked about me behind my back. That is not having feelings. That is being two-faced. My ex's face turned bright red. This is unbelievable. I leave for a year to work on myself, and you just replace me with someone from my own workplace? Your workplace. I said, you quit that job 10 months ago. And you did not leave to work on yourself. You left to see if you could find something better. Turns out you could not. So now you want to come back. But that spot has already been filled. She looked between us, her eyes watering. We were married for 6 years. Does that mean nothing to you? It meant something, I told her. Right up until the moment you said it did not. You made your choice. I made mine. That is how it goes. I made a mistake, she said, her voice cracking. People make mistakes. You are supposed to forgive mistakes in a marriage. Daisy cleared her throat. You do not have a marriage anymore, she said. You divorced him, remember? You cannot quit your job and then walk in a year later expecting your desk to still be empty. My ex glared at her. Nobody asked for your opinion. You were standing at my front door, Daisy replied calmly. In my house. So yes, you kind of did. My house. My ex shot back, looking at me. You moved into her house? It is our house, I said. We bought it together 3 months ago. The suitcase dropped from her hand and hit the porch with a dull thud. 3 months? You two have been together for 3 months? Closer to 8, I said. We kept things quiet while we were getting the business started. We did not want to complicate anything. Business, she repeated, like the word hurt her. Daisy and I are partners in several ways. She shook her head slowly. This is insane. You are throwing away everything we built for someone you barely know. I know her better in 8 months than I ever knew you in 6 years, I said. And we did not build anything. I built. You criticized. Those are not the same. She opened her mouth a few times like she wanted to argue, but no words came out. Finally, she pointed at Daisy. She is not better than me. Daisy gave her a smile, one that was anything but friendly. I do not have to be better than you, Daisy said calmly. I just have to show up and be here. Turns out, that is enough. My ex bent over to grab her suitcase, her hands shaking like she was cold. You are going to regret this, she said. I regret plenty of things, I told her. Marrying someone who treated me like a backup plan is definitely on that list. But this, I motioned between Daisy and myself. This is not something I will ever regret. She turned as if she was going to leave, but stopped halfway down the steps and looked back. When this falls apart, she did not finish the sentence. She just walked away. We watched her stomp across the driveway, toss her suitcase into the back seat, and speed off. The tires squealed a little as she drove out. Daisy closed the door behind her and leaned against it, letting out a long, slow breath. Well, she said, that was something. I started laughing. I could not help it. The whole situation was just plain ridiculous. She brought a suitcase, I said, laughing between words. She honestly thought she could just move right back in. Daisy shook her head, smiling. The look she gave me at the door, that was priceless. I almost felt bad. Almost, I agreed. You handled that perfectly, she said. All those years of dealing with her fake friendliness at work prepared me well. She pushed off the door and headed back toward the kitchen. Come on. The sauce is probably burning. I followed her and pulled out my phone on the way. There were 6 new messages from my ex. I deleted them without reading a single one, then blocked her number. Some doors should stay shut once you close them. The next morning, my ex somehow got around the block and sent 12 more messages. I knew that because Daisy counted every one of them while we sat eating breakfast. She is persistent, Daisy said, scrolling through the notifications popping up on my phone sitting on the counter. I will give her that. Persistence is not a virtue when you are chasing something that is long gone, I said, pouring coffee. You should probably read them, though, Daisy said, handing me my phone. Just in case she says something important. I unlocked it and skimmed through the mess. The messages bounced from apologizing, to angry, to begging, and back to apologizing again. The last one said she would be back in person because we owed each other that much. She thinks she is coming back? I said. Let her try. Daisy took a bite of toast. I will answer the door again. I first met Daisy 6 years ago when she got hired at the dealership where my ex worked. My ex was the finance manager, always dressed like she was going to an interview, always making sure everyone noticed her climbing the corporate ladder. Daisy worked in parts and inventory, quiet, organized, and good at what she did. My ex used to complain about Daisy all the time. She claimed Daisy smiled too much at the male technicians. She said Daisy dressed casually on purpose just so people would think she was down to earth. She said Daisy was fake. What my ex called fake, I eventually learned was just Daisy being herself. She did not play office games. She did her job and went home. And when Daisy talked to you, she actually listened. That alone drove my ex crazy. After the divorce, I ran into Daisy at a parts supplier. She was picking up pieces for a side project. Turned out she had been restoring an old Chevrolet on her own time. We got to talking. Engines, welding, the simple happiness of fixing something with your own hands. She mentioned she wanted to leave the dealership and start her own automotive supply business, but did not think she could manage it by herself. I had been thinking about expanding my garage into something more specialized. 3 conversations later, we had a full business plan. 6 months after that, we had a shop. And 2 months into running that shop, I realized I thought about her more than the business. I asked her out. She said yes. Everything grew from there. You know what gets me? I said, setting my phone face down on the counter. Yesterday, when she showed up with her suitcase, she never once asked if I was happy. Not once. She did not ask how I was doing or what I had been up to. She just assumed I had been sitting here waiting for her. Daisy nodded. Because in her world, that is exactly what you were doing. She cannot imagine you moved on. That would mean she was not as important as she always believed. She called you a replacement. Daisy smirked. I was standing right next to you. I heard. Yeah, well, you are not a replacement. She smiled, that soft kind of smile she does when she is joking but telling the truth at the same time. I know, she said. I am an upgrade. I laughed. You are not wrong. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. I let it ring out and go to voicemail. How long do you think she is going to keep this up? Daisy asked. Until she realizes I mean it, I said. Could take a while. She is stubborn. So are you. Difference is, I am stubborn about things that matter. She is stubborn about being right. The voicemail notification popped up, and I hit play on speaker. My ex's voice came through shaky and emotional. I know you are angry. I understand. But we were together for 6 years. You cannot just erase that. I made a mistake leaving. I get that now. Everyone deserves a second chance. Call me back. We need to talk about this like adults. Daisy raised an eyebrow. Like adults? This is the same woman who showed up unannounced with luggage. I deleted the voicemail. She wants closure, I said, but only on her terms. She wants me to sit there and listen while she explains how leaving was somehow my fault, I said. Then she wants me to forgive her so she can feel better about herself. Are you going to give her that? Daisy asked. No. Good. Daisy stood up and started clearing our dishes. Because that woman does not deserve another second of your time. Through the kitchen window, I noticed a car pulling up across the street. My ex's car. You have got to be kidding me, I muttered. Daisy looked over my shoulder. Is she seriously just sitting out there? Looks like it. We watched for a minute. She was staring right at the house, her phone in her hand, like she was psyching herself up. This is getting into stalking territory, Daisy said. My phone buzzed. Another message. I am outside. Come talk to me. 5 minutes. That is all I am asking. I typed back fast. No. Leave now, or I am calling the police. I saw her read it through the window. Her whole expression changed. She typed something, deleted it, typed again. You would not do that. We have history. I called the non-emergency line. Daisy stood there watching me, arms crossed, a little amused smile on her face. Hi, I said when the dispatcher answered. I need to report someone parked outside my house who refused to leave when asked. No threats, just refusing. The address is... Through the window, I saw my ex's eyes widen like she had been hit with cold water. She started the car immediately and sped off fast enough to leave rubber behind. I hung up before the dispatcher could transfer me anywhere. Problem solved. You did not actually report her, Daisy said. Did not need to. She does not know that. Daisy laughed and kissed my cheek. See? You are learning. Sometimes all it takes is the idea of consequences. I learn from the best, I said. Do not let that become a habit, she teased. But I will allow it this one time. The rest of the morning passed quietly. No messages, no calls, no car creeping around outside. Around noon, a text came in from an unknown number. You have changed. The man I married would never treat me like this. I showed it to Daisy. She is right, Daisy said. You changed. You finally grew a backbone. I blocked the number and went back to work. She was right about something else too. The man she married would have felt guilty. He would have questioned himself, wondered if he was being too harsh. But that man disappeared the day she walked out 14 months ago. The version of me that stood in her place now knew better. He knew respect is earned, not automatic. He knew loyalty cannot be negotiated. And he knew second chances are something you offer, not something someone demands. And this version of me was perfectly happy with how life had turned out. 3 days went by without a single word from her. I actually thought she had finally accepted reality and moved on. I was wrong. Thursday afternoon, Daisy and I were in the shop going over invoices when the front door opened. I looked up from the computer and my jaw tightened. My ex stepped inside wearing a sharp business suit, hair done perfectly, face polished, like she was here to close a loan instead of crash into my day. Her eyes swept over the place, taking in the neat rows of tools, the lift bays, the little office area where Daisy and I worked side by side. So this is it, she said. Your big venture. Daisy slowly stood. We are close to walk-ins. Appointments only. I am not here for car service, my ex said. Her eyes locked onto me. I am here to talk to my husband. Ex-husband. I corrected, not bothering to stand. And we have nothing to talk about. She walked toward me like Daisy was invisible. I deserve an explanation, she said. You owe me that much after 6 years of marriage. I do not owe you anything, I said. You got your explanation 14 months ago when I agreed to the divorce. That was the conversation. That was not a conversation, she snapped. That was you giving up. I leaned back in my chair. No, that was me respecting what you asked for. You wanted out. I opened the door. You are the one twisting what happened. She glanced at Daisy with irritation, then back to me. Can we talk privately? No, I said. There is nothing private between us. There is no us. There is me and Daisy. And you are just someone who used to be in my life. Her polished composure cracked a little. How can you be so cold? We shared a life. You ended that life. I started a new one. That is how time works. Daisy stepped beside me, arms crossed. You need to leave, Daisy said. You are trespassing. My ex finally looked at her. This is between him and me. You are just the rebound. Rebound. Daisy laughed with no warmth in it. Honey, rebounds are temporary. I am permanent. That is the difference. You think you know him? My ex shot back. I was with him for 6 years. And you learned nothing, Daisy said. Because if you had, you would know he does not respond to manipulation. He does not do emotional games. And he sure as hell does not reward someone who walked out on him. My ex's face flushed red. I did not walk out. I needed space to grow. You needed space to test if you could trade up, I said flatly. So let us tell the truth. You thought you found something better. It did not work out. Now you want to come back because you suddenly realized what you threw away. But that is not my problem anymore. We could have worked through things, she said, her voice rising. Couples go through rough patches. Rough patches are arguments about whose turn it is to wash dishes or how much we spend on groceries, I said. Not one person walking out for over a year to go live their best life without the other. That is not a rough patch. That is a breakup. She pointed at Daisy, frustration twisting her face. And her. She is perfect, right? She never makes mistakes. I make plenty of mistakes, Daisy said calmly. But abandoning someone I love is not one of them. My ex's eyes filled with tears. I came back. That should count for something. It does not, I said. You coming back just proves you made a bad choice. It does not erase the fact that you made it. So that is it. You were just done after everything? I was done the day you left, I said. You were just now realizing it. She wiped her eyes, leaving a streak of mascara across her cheek. When did you become this person? You used to be kind. You used to care. I still care, I told her. Just not about you anymore. That privilege expired when you walked out. Daisy stepped forward. You need to go before this turns into a real problem. My ex looked at both of us, her face shifting from hurt to anger. You two deserve each other. You are both cold and heartless. Maybe, Daisy said. Or maybe we just do not tolerate people who treat relationships like rental cars. You cannot return them when something newer or shinier comes along. My ex clutched her purse like she needed something to hold on to. You know what? Fine. Have your little life together. See how long it lasts once she figures out who you really are. She already knows exactly who I am. I said, that is the difference. You spent 6 years trying to mold me into someone else. Daisy likes me as I am. That is because she does not know you like I do. Daisy smiled, steady and warm. I know he wakes up early just to make coffee before I get out of bed. I know he hums when he is working through something complicated. I know he remembers tiny details from conversations weeks ago. And I know he is loyal to people who deserve it. So yeah, I know him. Maybe better than you ever did. My ex did not have a comeback for that. She just stood there with her mouth half open. Then she turned toward the door. Halfway through, she looked back. I hope you know what you are giving up. I do, I said. I am giving up someone who made me feel like I was never enough. Best decision I ever made. She left without another word. The door clicked softly behind her. Daisy sat down and exhaled hard. She is not going to stop, is she? Probably not yet. She still thinks she can wear me down. Can she? Daisy asked. I reached over and took her hand. Not even close. I am exactly where I want to be. Daisy squeezed my hand. Good answer. My phone buzzed on the desk. Another unknown number. You will regret this. Mark my words. I showed Daisy. Mark her words. Daisy said. Who even talks like that? Someone who watches too many dramatic soap operas, I said, blocking the number. How many phones does this woman own? Apparently several, Daisy said. Does it matter? Nope. She cannot text me if I keep blocking her. What if she shows up again? Then we call the police for real. 3 strikes, and she is out. Daisy walked to the window, looking out over the lot. You know what is funny? She said. She spent all that time at the dealership talking behind my back, saying I was not classy enough, not ambitious enough. And now look at us, running a business together, building something real and steady, while she is driving around town melting down. I walked over and stood beside her. You know what she hated most about you? What? That you were confident without needing anyone's approval. She never figured out how to break that. Daisy leaned her shoulder against mine. She is really miserable, is she not? Seems like it. Should I feel bad? Do you? Not even a little. Then that is your answer. We stood there watching the afternoon sun stretch long shadows across the lot. My phone buzzed again. Another mystery number. I did not even check it, just blocked it. Some people need a long time to understand that no actually means no. My ex was clearly one of them. But I had patience. And more importantly, I had something worth protecting now. Something she would never understand. 2 weeks went by with silence. No calls, no messages, no surprise visits. I almost believed she had finally understood. Then Daisy came home from running errands with a story. I saw her today, she said, setting grocery bags from Target on the counter. I looked up from the carburetor I was cleaning at the kitchen table. You did? Where? She pretended not to see me at first. Then she walked right up and asked how I was. What did you say? I said I was great. Asked how she was. You know, basic polite stuff. Daisy started putting groceries away. Then she asked if you and I were still together. She asked that. I said, setting my tools down. Oh yeah, Daisy said. Her exact words were, are you and my husband still playing house? What did you tell her? I asked. I said, he is not your husband. He is mine. Daisy grinned wide. Technically not accurate yet, Daisy said, grinning. But the look on her face was worth it. You are terrible, I told her. I learned from you, she said, pulling eggs and milk out of the grocery bag. But here is the interesting part. She said she heard our business was struggling, asked if we were worried about paying rent. Our business is fine, I said. Better than fine. I know that, Daisy said. You know that. But somebody has been feeding her nonsense. I leaned back, thinking, who would even know anything about our finances? That is what I wondered, Daisy said. Then I remembered she still has friends at the dealership. Someone is probably making up stories to make her feel better. Let them, I said. I do not care what she thinks she knows. Daisy leaned her hip against the counter. She also said she is seeing someone new. Some district manager for a pharmaceutical company. She made sure to tell me she is doing just fine without you. Good for her. That is what I told her, Daisy said. Then I mentioned our supply contracts expanded into 3 more counties, and we are planning a second location next year. I smiled. How did she take that? Not well, Daisy said. She got very quiet, then said she had to go. You did not have to tell her about the expansion. I know, Daisy said, closing the refrigerator. But I wanted to. Is that petty? Probably, she said. Do I care? Not at all. My phone rang, another unknown number. I answered anyway and put it on speaker. Hello. It is me, my ex said. Do not hang up. How did you get this number? That does not matter, she said quickly. I just wanted to say congratulations on the business expansion. Daisy told me. Okay, I said. If that is all you called for, then we are done. That is all you have to say, she asked. What do you want me to say? Thank you for calling to congratulate me on something you had nothing to do with. She was silent for a moment. I wanted to be part of it, she said. Back when we were married, you talked about expanding the garage someday. We were supposed to do that together. You were never interested in the garage, I said. You said it was a dead-end hobby that would never turn into real income. I did not mean it like that. Yes, you did, I said. You meant exactly that. You wanted me to get a sales job at the dealership because you thought working with my hands was beneath me. I wanted you to have stability. Well, I have stability now, I said. Just not with you. Because of her, she said. No, I replied. Because of me. I built this. Daisy helped, sure, but I made the choice. You would have talked me out of it. That is not fair, she snapped. It is accurate, I said. Anytime I brought up expanding, you talked about the risks, the expenses, how we could not afford it. You killed the dream before I even had time to explore it. I was being practical. You were being controlling, I said. There is a difference. I heard her breathing change, sharp and irritated. I called to be nice, she said. To congratulate you. And you turn it into an attack. I did not attack you, I said. I told the truth. You do not like it because it does not fit the version of the story where you were the hero. My version, she shot back. And what is your version? That you are not a monster, I said. You are just someone who wanted different things and did not have the guts to admit it until you already had one foot out the door. That is not evil. It is just weak. The line went quiet. For a moment, I thought she hung up. I loved you, she said softly. Maybe you did, I said. In your way. But your way was not enough. And I am done pretending it was. So that is it, she whispered. You are just going to be with her and forget I exist? I am not forgetting you exist, I said. I am just not letting you exist in my present or my future. You are filed under past. That is where you stay? You used to be kinder, she said. I used to be a lot of things, I replied. Then I learned that kindness without boundaries is just weakness other people take advantage of. You taught me that. Honestly, I should thank you. She let out a laugh, but it sounded strained and painful. You have changed, she said. So have you, I said. The difference is I changed into someone I respect. You, well, that is your own journey. I do respect myself, she snapped. Showing up at my house with a suitcase and trying to move back in after 14 months says otherwise. I made a mistake, she said quietly. No, I said. You made a choice. Stop calling it a mistake just because it did not turn out how you hoped. What was I supposed to do, she asked. Stay in a marriage where I felt trapped? You were supposed to communicate, I said. Or end it cleanly. Not leave, run off to chase something shiny, and come back when it disappointed you. It did not disappoint me, she said quickly. I told you. I am seeing someone. Then why are you calling me? She said nothing. Exactly, I said. You are calling because you are not happy. Whatever you thought you would find out there did not live up to expectations. And now you see me doing fine without you, and it is tearing you up. That is not true, she said weakly. It is completely true, I replied. You wanted me miserable. You wanted proof that leaving me was difficult, that you mattered. But I moved on, and that is what you cannot handle. I did not want you miserable, she whispered. Yes, you did, I said. Because if I am happy without you, then you were never as important as you believed. And that ruins the whole story you built about being the prize I should have fought for. She stayed silent for several seconds. When she spoke again, her tone had changed. It had gone sharp, hard enough to cut. You know what? You are right, she said. I did not want to see you struggle. You made letting me go look easy. Like 6 years meant nothing to you. It meant something, I told her. It meant something right up until the moment you said it did not. I never said that, she argued. You said marriage was holding you back, I replied. Same thing. It is not the same. It is to me, I said. And at this point, my interpretation is the only one that matters. Fine, she snapped. Have your interpretation. Have your business. Have your replacement girlfriend. I hope you are happy. I am genuinely happy, I said. Probably for the first time in a long time. Not because of Daisy, because of me. She just happens to see the real version of me, instead of trying to sand me down to fit some idea of who I should be. The call ended just like that. No goodbye. She hung up on me. Daisy walked back into the kitchen with a raised eyebrow. That sounded intense. She called to congratulate us on the expansion, I said. Real thoughtful. It was not genuine, Daisy said. She was trying to fish for information, trying to see if you would soften. Did I? Not even a little, Daisy said, wrapping her arms around me from behind. Good. She had her chance. She does not get another one. Agreed. I turned to face her. She also said she is seeing someone new. I heard, Daisy said. Do you think she actually is? Does not matter, I said. Even if she is still calling me. Still showing up. Still trying to pull a reaction out of me. Some people cannot let go, Daisy said. That is her problem, not yours. My phone buzzed. Another message from the same unknown number. You will always wonder what if. I showed Daisy. Will you? She asked. Wonder what if. Not for a second, I said. I know exactly how it would go. She would move back in. We would be peaceful for a month. Then she would start finding reasons to be miserable again. Because she is not unhappy with me. She is unhappy with herself. And switching partners does not fix that. Wise words, Daisy said. I have my moments. I blocked the number and set the phone down. How many numbers does this woman have? Daisy asked. Apparently an endless supply, I said. But it does not matter. She can call me from every phone in the state. The answer stays no. Daisy kissed my cheek. I am going to finish putting groceries away. Try not to let her ruin the rest of your day. She will not, I said. She does not have that kind of power anymore. And I meant it. Whatever grip she once had on me had vanished the moment I stopped caring about her approval. Some people spend their whole lives trying to win validation from people who never earned that role. I had finally stepped out of that trap. A month later, Daisy and I were invited to speak at a local business networking event. Small crowd, about 50 people, small businesses sharing their stories. Honestly, we almost said no, but we figured the exposure would be good. The event was held in a hotel conference room. We talked about starting from scratch, the challenges, the wins, the risks we took. The audience seemed genuinely interested. During the break, I went to pour myself a cup of coffee and felt eyes on me. I turned around, and there she was again, standing near the entrance in a black dress with her arms crossed. My ex had found us. Daisy saw her the same moment I did. She came to stand beside me. She is here, Daisy whispered. I see her, I said. What do you want to do? Nothing, I said. Let her watch. We returned to our table. My ex stayed against the wall, staring. When the organizer called us up for the question and answer panel, she moved closer to the front. A man in the audience asked how Daisy and I balanced business with our personal life. Before I could open my mouth, my ex's voice cut through the room. That is a very interesting question, she said loudly, considering he was married to someone else a year ago. The room went dead quiet. All eyes shifted toward her. The moderator cleared his throat. Ma'am, if you have a question, please wait for the microphone. I do not need a microphone, she said, stepping forward. I just think people should know the whole story before they celebrate this little relationship. He sure moved on fast, did he not? Daisy stood up, calm as ever. Actually, Daisy said, the divorce was final 8 months before we started dating. But thank you for the public clarification. A few people chuckled. My ex's face turned red. You were waiting in the wings the whole time. I was living my life, Daisy replied. Maybe you should try it instead of following your ex-husband to professional events. A few more nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. I stood and looked at my ex directly. You want to do this here? Fine. Yes, I was married. Yes, I got divorced. My ex-wife said she needed to find herself and disappeared for 14 months. When she came back expecting everything to be exactly the same, she found out life keeps moving. That is not true, she said, her voice shaking. You replaced me. No, I said. You vacated the position. Someone else filled it. That is not replacement. That is a consequence. The moderator stepped in. Perhaps we should. I am done, my ex said sharply. She looked at me one last time, eyes glossy with tears. I hope you are happy. I am, I said simply. She turned and walked out. The room stayed silent for a few seconds. Someone in the back of the room started clapping. Then a few more joined in. Before long, half the room was applauding. The moderator gave an awkward smile. Well, that was something, he said. Shall we continue? We wrapped up the panel without any more surprises. Afterwards, several people came up to say they appreciated the honesty. A few joked that the drama was more interesting than the presentation. On the drive home, Daisy and I sat quietly for the first couple minutes. That was intense, she finally said. She is losing her grip, I replied. Do you think she will try again? Probably not, Daisy said. She embarrassed herself in front of 50 people. Hard to bounce back from that. I almost feel bad for her, I said. Almost, Daisy echoed, giving a small smile. But then I remember she chose to make a scene. Nobody forced her. My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. I embarrassed myself today. I know that. But you embarrassed me first when you moved on so fast. We are even now. I showed Daisy. Even, she said. So public humiliation equals moving on with your life? In her world, maybe. I did not respond. Just blocked the number like the rest. You know what? Daisy said. I do not think she is coming back after this. Me neither. Good, she said. Because I am tired of her drama. So am I. We pulled into the driveway, our home. Whatever she was struggling with, it was not mine to carry anymore. And that felt exactly right. 6 weeks passed with no contact at all. No calls, no messages, no surprise appearances. Life went back to being normal. The shop stayed busy. Daisy and I settled into an easy rhythm. Working during the day, cooking dinner at night, planning the second location on weekends. Then one afternoon, a letter arrived. An actual handwritten letter, her handwriting on the envelope. Daisy handed it to me. You going to read it? Might as well. I opened it. 3 pages. A long apology. Reasons for why she left. Regrets. Explanations. The final paragraph asked if we could meet for coffee just to talk and get closure. I read it twice, then passed it to Daisy. She scanned it and set it down. What are you thinking? I am thinking she spent 6 weeks writing this, hoping I would feel something. Do you? Daisy asked. Not what she wants me to feel. I pulled out my phone and typed a message to the last number she used. You had 14 months to think about what you wanted. I used that time to build something better. There is no closure needed, because I closed that door the day you walked out. I hope you find what you are looking for, but you will not find it with me. Do not contact me again. I hit send and blocked the number immediately. Daisy leaned over my shoulder. Short and direct. The only kind of message she understands. My phone buzzed immediately. She had switched numbers again. That is it. After everything, that is all I get? Blocked. Another buzz. You are making a mistake. Blocked. Another buzz. Fine. Have your life. I am done trying. Blocked again. Then I turned off my phone. How many numbers does she even have? Daisy asked. Does not matter, I said. I am done playing this game. Daisy wrapped her arms around me. Think she will stop this time? Eventually she will, I said. When she realizes I meant what I said. And if she does not, then she does not. Either way, she is not my problem anymore. We stood in the kitchen, sunlight spilling in through the window. You know what is funny? Daisy said. She spent all that time trying to come back, and not once did she ask what you wanted. It was always about her needs. That was always the problem, I said. Well, she asked, what do you want? I looked at her. This. Exactly this. You. The shop. Building something real. That is all I want. Good answer, she said, kissing me. Because you are stuck with me. Best thing I am stuck with, I said. Later that evening, I took the letter outside and burned it in the fire pit. Watched the paper curl, turn black, and crumble into ash. Daisy came out and sat next to me. Symbolic, she said. Felt right. Any regrets? Not a single one. The fire burned down as the stars came out. We sat together in a comfortable, quiet kind of way. My phone stayed off until morning. And when I finally turned it back on, there were no messages. Maybe she had finally gotten the message. Or maybe she had not. Either way, it did not matter anymore. I was exactly where I wanted to be, with the person I wanted to be with. And that was the only ending that ever mattered. Bye.